Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we are going to take on the Fused Fighters event for the Infinite Dragon Ball history, and we are going to be completing it with a time limit category team. So obviously I did a video and we finished it with a Connected Hope team. We are going to be running a time travelers team, a time limit team, and we're going to be seeing how we do here. In terms of team build, obviously I try not to use summonable LRs, so the LR Gogeta is a friend lead, and we are actually running the team under the fusion lead of the AGL transforming movie Gogeta. He's going to be a nice little unit for us to use. He's going to give us some options in terms of leader skill, and with him we have the Int Gogeta. Now he can pair with each other, but obviously for the most part we're not going to pair them up together. We have the SS4 Gogeta, who is the Great Ape category lead. He's going to be great. Obviously remember he does lose some of his stats after a couple turns, but we should still be fine. He's at 55%. We have the Int Gotenks with a dupe in him. He is going to be running alongside that Int Gogeta for the most part, pretty much for the entire run. And then we're going to have the Int Super Saiyan Gogeta, because now I'm getting confused between the Int Gogetas, paired up with the Tech Goku and Vegeta. We're only going to transform Tech Goku and Vegeta by the Super Saiyan Vegito phase, the Int Vegito phase, because that's when we'll need the heal. We'll also need the ability to see super attacks and probably, to just kind of have a bit more control and damage, and realistically just kind of maintain our control on the fight. We shouldn't have any real problems. There are stages where we'll be at risk. Kefla does gain dodge quite significantly as she transforms, which does help. She will be at risk during the AGL Vegito phase, but she can still dodge then. So as long as she gets off her evasions, we should be more than fine. And then finally we have the free-to-play Gotenks or Ghost Tanks, Gotenks and Ghost. They're going to be a super solid option, but they do drop off in defensive capabilities, so we're obviously going to keep them as a floating unit. Even though they have decent defense, if you give them quite a lot of rainbow orbs, it's still generally not enough, especially in the final phase against the physical Gogeta. And that is our biggest kind of threat phase, I want to say. The physical Gogeta obviously is a bit of a problem for a team comprised of like 4 Int units, but we should be able to handle him. We will transform Gotenks into SS3 stage, which will help a lot with damage and output. We should still have all the effects of the Tech Gogeta active by the time we take him on. That will be a huge source of damage, and we do have attacks effective against all types. Plus we'll have the guaranteed crits of the AGL transforming SS Blue Gogeta. Now obviously if you are trying to take on the time limit category, it's probably best if you do bring some of the major players. The Strength LR Gogeta is an exceptional unit for these kind of long form events, usually a unit that's not so great in the harder content due to the short form nature of events like the Gods of Destruction event and the ESBR and SBR. He actually excels in these longer form events. His evasion, his active skill, his ability to stack, his attacks effective against all types, his crit chance, all of that really helps him out quite a bit, and he can be a really big damage dealer. Then of course we have the physical Gogeta, another exceptional unit that would pair really well of course with the LR Tech Gogeta. Again, not necessarily a unit that, let's say, is exceptional nowadays. Obviously he's aged quite a bit, being the 3rd year anniversary unit, but I still think they're really good considering how old they are. And once they transform, they're still very exceptional, especially now that they can pair up with the Tech LR Gogeta once he's transformed, and they actually have perfect links. which is obviously great for the unit overall. But yeah, really big bonus there for those units, so you could definitely bring him. But yeah, there's plenty of fusion units that you could use. You could use the AGL Go tanks, the one from the banner, the sub banner, depending on how many buffs you have in him or anything like that. He'll still be very good. Remember, he gains an additional attack and defense of 70% when he is facing a single unit. And if you're running the time limit category under LR Gogeta, there's actually quite a few other units. Vegito Blue, the physical one, with his EZA will do tremendous damage. And yeah, just in general, some really good options. So for the most part, you shouldn't have any problems building a team. It's just going to depend on what kind of dupes you have in which units. The only real viable free-to-play unit that I would say is kind of the one you could use is probably the Ghost tanks. He's definitely the only unit I considered using. Veku, I guess you could technically use if you really have to, but you're going to have to spend the orbs into him and hope that he can escape certain situations untouched. The last phases are against a AGL Vegito, a Int Vegito, and a physical Go tanks. Sorry, a physical Gogeta. So you do need to be aware of those things, because even though we do have a strong lineup, it is quite difficult to prepare for type disadvantage, and you'll see we do get lucky. Kefla manages to evade an attack from AGL Vegito, which secures us the win pretty much, but it's things like that that you do need to be aware of, and like I said, with having so many int units, we will be popping items at the final stage. In terms of items, I've gone with a Icarus and a Princess Snake. No real reason why, I just didn't feel like using a Whis. So yeah, I went for an Icarus, and then of course we went for Princess Snake for some healing. The attack lowering effect's not really going to help so much from the Princess Snake, but overall the healing will be nice, and it'll give us a good amount of heal. You could go for something like an Android 8, it's probably better. A bigger heal along with a defensive buff for 2 turns, and the defensive buff will help a lot more than the attack reduction that the Princess Snake will offer you. So you can definitely do that. Other than that, the event is pretty straightforward. If you stick with the rotations that we've gone with, everything should be fine. Try and save the active skills like Gogeta's active skill, the Go Tank's SS3 transformation and things like that. Try and save it so that you can use them during at least the Int Vegito phase and the physical Gogeta phase. But, if you have to use them, you have to use them a little bit earlier. It's not too bad, but this team, one thing this team will definitely do is complete the event within 20 turns. So yeah, definitely something that you should be able to do with this team. They're super viable in that way. They do a lot of damage. A lot of them have attacks effective against all types, or they have built-in criticals and things like that. So you shouldn't really have too much of a problem. I think everything will be fine as long as you just stay aware of where your units are and where all the attacks are heading. Obviously, once Tech Gogeta manages to transform, you should have less of an issue in managing who gets hit by what, because you'll have the ability to see attacks and things like that. I wasn't necessarily unhappy with getting the Dokkan attack here. Not that we needed the heal, but killing this AGL Vegito actually helps me out a lot more, because the biggest issue we have is Kefla. Her taking any kind of damage from this Vegito is pretty much a death sentence. She can take like 80k on normals, which is a bit of a problem. Obviously, we get super lucky with her dodges here, which helps us all out quite a bit. But yeah, it's definitely something that I was concerned about, because it's could cause some issues. When you have these kind of situations where one unit's kind of, going to take almost half your health from 2 normals, or a third of your health, it is an issue. And we do only have 396,000 or so health on this team. We don't necessarily have the largest amount of health. I think if you look, 400k nowadays is not a lot. A lot of teams have over 500k, 450, some are close to 600k, some are at 600k. So having 400k health on a team is just really not a lot. And could have given us some issues, but again, like I said, we just managed to handle those situations well enough. We didn't really run into too many issues, and we managed to clear out the AGL Vegito quickly enough that we didn't run into many significant problems, or problems that I would say gave us huge headaches. So with those out of the way, we did have a lot more control over the fight, and yeah, we kept all our items and we kept all our active skills pretty much for the final two phases, which is where we want them. And we want to try and keep them as much as possible for the physical Gogeta, because he's obviously the biggest threat to our massively int-based lineup. But we're going to transform the Tech Alar Gogeta here, finally get him out onto the playing field, and we'll have a lot more control. Again, like I say, you're going to have that damage reduction still, you're going to have that ability to foresee super attacks, you're going to have that ability to nullify super attacks, you're going to have that crit chance, that attacks effective against all types. You're just going to have a lot going on that's going to help you out. And we obviously got the slight heal as well, even though we had the Dokkan attack previously. So ideally, I guess we probably could have saved. We probably could have saved and kept that skill for the next kind of session. But yeah, it's not entirely needed. So yeah, I think using it now is fine. I think this was the correct timing. We managed to clear everything before the 5 turns ran out, so from my side I don't see an issue with it, but obviously maybe people who like to play everything exactly by the numbers or something like that, they might have an issue with where I used the transformation. But for the most part, everything was pretty straightforward. Once we've managed to do this now, once we manage to essentially get the transformations out, we start using the active skills, our DPS does shoot up quite a bit. We gain a quite significant increase in offense. When you look at units like SS3 Go tanks, when you look at things like that, they improve very, very, very severely with all of those kind of increases and buffs and everything like that. So from my side, it's obviously just a very, very good offensive change, and it's something that you kind of need to do because you just need to be in control of the fight, and these last 2 phases are better to get through quickly than to be stuck kind of milling about and stuck in limbo without being able to incur proper DPS or anything like that. I think it's good that you manage to get all these transformations and keep the DPS up. And you can see that you look at SS3 Gotenks' damage, he is really putting out some big damage. He's essentially just doing some really big huge damage. He jumps to like 5 million, 6 million, 4 million attack stats, and yeah, he just does good DPS. So I think that helps us out quite a bit. Obviously in the physical phase against Gogeta, it doesn't help as much as it helps now against the Int Vegito, but for the most part it does still help. And you can see there Kefla's evasion really coming into clutch again, and just preventing us from taking once more a nice big super attack. So she's dodged 2 super attacks so far, which obviously helps us quite a bit, and just really keeps us in good momentum. It keeps us from struggling, it keeps us from having any issues. realistically manage to keep complete control of the fight, which is good. We don't struggle for health. We generally just manage to stay in that comfortable position, and from my side I think that's really good, and that's where those kind of evasions come into clutch and help us kind of keep control of everything. And we'll be able to finish off into Vegito with the SS AGL Gogeta. His crits, huge damage, and very reliable. You know, his evasion helps him out quite a bit. So yeah, really cool. We obviously now fighting the physical Gogeta. Also, you know, I don't want to say too much, but he is quite tough. Obviously our inter-based lineup doesn't help us. We're going to use Gogeta's active skill for that stats boost for himself. Obviously is the main reason, just to give him that little bit of stat boost, just so we're not so concerned about him, just in case he were to catch a super attack or anything like that. He'd be able to kind of stay in control and just prevent us from taking mega boy damage. So yeah, really team has been moving nicely. I think the build of the team works fine, even though we're a bit int heavy. I think all the attacks effective against all types and things like that really do just help us stay completely in control, and I think when you can stay in control like that and keep your DPS up, I think for the most part you don't struggle. And I think that really helps. Like you see here with Gotenks like doing some good damage. His attack stats are so high, he's managing to still do some damage. He gets a crit here, which does huge damage, and he builds up his defense really well when this happens. You know, remember, he is stacking his attack and defense with every single super attack he does for up to 6 turns, and he is really stacking that defense quite high. So he's not a unit that I would say is massively at risk when you are considering the units in your team. Like after he's supered, if he can super before he gets hit by stuff, he will actually be able to tank relatively well. He's obviously not going to take any damage, but he definitely can tank relatively well, and he won't let you down. I mean, you look at that damage, he's really been shucking out some good numbers. So from my side, super duper happy with how he's been, and yeah, I'm really impressed with how this team did overall. I'm really happy with what they've done, and I think it was a good time as well. I think we got a really nice, how do I say, clearing time. I think we were comfortable the whole way through. We struggled, we got a couple lucky dodges, which always helps. Good dodge here, good dodge there. Not gonna say they don't help, they do, but I think we definitely did well. We definitely managed to stay in control of everything. We managed to not lose our grip on the fight, which helps a lot. And for me overall, I think just in general, we didn't struggle too much, honestly. So Kefla will finish this off, I believe. She will dish out quite a bit of damage. Obviously she comes quite in handy here. Unfortunately she doesn't get a lot of links active on a fusion team, weirdly enough. She's just not really, I don't know, she doesn't link really well with them. It's kind of weird. She's obviously more Universe 6 orientated. But we managed to clear it up quite good. So let me know down in the comments if you've been struggling, what team builds you've been using, and just how you've been finding the event. Did you finish both challenges? Did you not? And otherwise, just let me know your thoughts and opinions. But as always guys, thanks for watching the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care and bye.